if you are rich or poor, doesn't matter if you're black or white. We've all experienced pain and suffering. I like the use of, I've heard people say trauma, little t, big T, right? Little traumas, big traumas. But the root is still that pain. We all still have these core wounds. We all have experienced joy, happiness, sadness, contentment, frustration, anger, love. And that may look different for absolutely everyone, but there is a shared essence of those things among us. And isn't that beautiful? I live in Canada, but in 2 days' time, our neighboring country, the United States, is set to hold a election. And it has the country polarized. It has the world probably polarized. I do not really pay much attention to the drama, the soap opera that is it is politics. Because we can lose our humanity when we start to find holes and flaws in the other person's perspectives, the other person's opinions, experiences, and belief systems. I wish for all of us that we can find our shared humanity and we can find those core emotions that we all have and realize that we are all one at the end of the day. If anyone has any advice for anyone reading the comments, what is it that you like to do when you are met with a situation where you're having a conversation with someone or overhearing a conversation where you have a varying belief system? How do you navigate? How do you allow the other person to have their views while also expressing your own? And then how do you ensure that the container is safe so that you create a positive dialogue as opposed to a head-on anger, frustration filled conversation? What are your tools in your toolbox? I'd love to know. I do hope everyone's having a beautiful day. Happy November. Wow. I'll see you tomorrow. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my timeline. Place where we shine a light in all the dark places. I'm so happy that you have come across this video, and I hope that you are having a beautiful day so far. My name is Jess, if we haven't met already, and if you'd like, I would really appreciate you taking a moment to subscribe to this channel. We are on a journey here of recording and uploading one video every day for 365 days. And in these videos, we're really talking about absolutely anything under the sun. We're talking about stories, memories, projections. I go on rants and tangents, and in there we get a little bit of wisdom, I believe, directly channeled from the divine. One of my favorite lenses to look through is that of an astrological nature. And we have been in Scorpio season for just about a week now. And my favorite thing about this season is that dive into the deep subconscious, little bit taboo topics that sometimes we're a little bit afraid to speak of, to bring to life. And you know, my brain started talking about, or started to say, share a story. And I think my ego wanted to step in there and just say, oh my gosh, what is it that you want to say? What do you want to talk about? What is this deep dark secret you want to bring to the surface? What is it that you want to share today? I've spent most of today actually listening to pleasure coaches. I joined a membership to a school of thought called Existential Kink. And I'm brand new. So I don't have all the details. I don't have all of the information. But so far, what I'm taking from this practice is getting off on all of our dirty little shameful secrets and pieces of ourselves that we tend to push down. And so part of the practice is to recognize where in your body you're feeling resistance and tension and that no, that shame, that fear, that guilt, and allowing it to be present in your body. And finding why it feels so shameful for you. And allowing yourself to feel the presence of those feelings in your body. And actually allowing it to provide pleasure by accepting that as being a part of yourself. And so bringing forward these pieces so that you can shift and change, and but accept first what it is that you're feeling. I participated in a 30-minute meditation, and it was beautiful. Using the image of a rose being in your body and distilling that poison that typically you would just allow to be in your human, and allowing the rose to distill that poison and accept that it's okay for it to be in your person. Following that, I actually joined a live game, and it was called Heat. And I just listened. It was my first time, but it's this beautiful sacred container where it was all women today. I'm not sure if it is meant to be a women's only circle, but today it was all women, and it was this safe container to play with being stroked. And I'm new, so the language isn't quite developed. I'm a little unsure of how this game works, but there's a giver, a receiver, and it's this beautiful consensual giving and receiving of things that have caused you to feel shame, guilt, or other negative emotions, and you're allowing yourself to embody that and to actually find the pleasure within, because something in you wants to hear these things. It's really quite interesting. Following that, there's actually a local woman here who has a podcast, and she's a sex and intimacy coach. And she's actually in my community here. And she has a podcast called Depth. And I listened to one and a half of her podcasts. And the first one was that of transforming pain into pleasure, especially in motherhood. And that's something that we will dive into, my relationship with pain and pleasure when it comes to the initiation into motherhood and how that has transformed me in every possible way. And secondly, another podcast talking about the tantric practices. And I left off again with the guest speaking to how pain during intimacy can come up, not necessarily due to a physical nature, but that of a deep-seated emotional one. What I take from everything I've taken in today is that there must be a conscious effort to address these pieces of yourself. And this transformation doesn't happen. Pleasure, play, intimacy, it doesn't just happen. It is a conscious choice every day. And there's small things that you can do every day to connect with your body and to bring your mind into a place where it can receive the information of the day and find pleasure, joy, and play around every corner. So if you're feeling brave and you'd like to share, I'd love to know what your relationship is with any of these concepts that we've been speaking of. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and take good care. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my timeline. Are you afraid of the dark? Halloween is fast approaching, and I'm one of those people who has never been into scary movies. I find them extremely overwhelming, and I would find myself scared for days to come if I watched anything remotely terror-inducing. I used to be afraid to look in the mirror. I had to have lights on in every room. And I just had this feeling that there was a presence with me every time that I watched something scary. What brought this on was my husband put on some trailers for some upcoming movies, and a few of them were horror or terror or scary, whatever the term may be. And as I came into this room today, the lights were off. I closed the door and I felt that sense again, that sense of uneasiness, that sense that I wanted to get the lights on as soon as possible. It's almost like there's a chill that follows me, and I feel this sense of being unsafe. During this time of year, the sun sets very quickly, and when I go out for walks at night when it's dark, not as much anymore, but one thing that would happen is I would always catch myself looking. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my timeline. Is getting off on all of our dirty little shameful secrets and pieces of ourselves that we tend to. What is it that you want to say? What do you want to talk about? What is this deep dark secret you want to bring to the surface? Video every day for 365 days. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my timeline. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my looking behind me and just feeling the sense that something was either following, or I was in danger, or I just felt this uneasiness. Are you afraid of the dark? I think I always have been. I think about these unidentifiable states that can come over you. And I'll do my best to speak from I statements and my own experiences. But I'm reminded of my anxiety attacks. They were all brought on in the dark. There was this sense that the darkness was overcoming me, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. It's quite an overwhelming feeling. The light feels so vast and endless, but so does the dark, but in a completely different way. I've been thinking about the myth of Inanna, and I was reminded by a friend and one of our beautiful community members about Persephone as well. And there's quite a few different myths and stories surrounding this concept, so I'm probably not going to be able to do it justice in the way that it needs to. So if this sparks an interest, take that time to research and understand. But there's this connection with Venus and there's the morning star and the evening star. And it talks about Venus's time, or Inanna's time, or Persephone's time in the underworld with Hades. And so we have this like Plutonian energy associated with Hades, and then we have the Venus energy in association with Inanna or Persephone, if I'm not mistaken. And I think, and I might be wrong, but there's also stories of having to go through several, I think exactly 7 gates in order to get to the underworld. And essentially it strips you bare of everything in order to get in or to leave. And I think about the feeling of the unending darkness that is the night. That is the underworld. That is the unconscious. That is the shadow. I've spent so long trying to push that side away because it's scary. It's hard to face. You feel lost and you feel scared. I often hear people at this time of year talking about how the veil is thin. And I believe we also celebrate, gosh, is it at this time? I'm thinking of like Day of the Dead, but I'm pretty sure that's like Cinco de Mayo, which is not this time. So maybe I'm totally not correct in that, but during this time, we speak about the ancestors, and we bring up themes of death and dying and transition and transformation. Obviously, the seasons are going through that right now, and there's a shedding that happens that I always feel like I can't quite put my finger on. I catch myself trying to hold on to the light during this time. When I'm outside during the day, I'm trying to feel the warmth of the sun and remind myself what it feels like to bask in the full glow in the middle of summer. But then I remind myself that it can't be high noon all day, every day. And there's this balance that must be achieved. And there's so much wisdom to be gained through these darker, more introspective times. Does anyone have any practices that they use for dealing with fear? And I'll specify not anxiety about the future or anything like that, but fear. Fear of presence, fear of entity, fear of unconscious beliefs, fear of the shadows. And what do you do? Do you allow it to be? Do you try to alchemize and turn it into something of power or of light. You simply do what I do and just turn the lights on and just allow the shadows to be present, but not the full darkness. I hope that you're having a beautiful day. I hope you are able to share your light with someone, with yourself. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Welcome to my timeline, a place where we dive deep into all of the questions that come up in the life of Jess, in hopes that you watching are experiencing something similar. You can gain some insight, do some inquiry, and find ways to heal and grow. I'm so glad that you found this video. If you're not already, please consider subscribing to this channel. I have a goal of getting to 100,000 subscribers in 3 months. It's a big goal, and it's something that I'm so excited to achieve as organically as possible, and it really starts with you. We're trying to build a community here, and if you can take a moment to share this video with a friend or subscribe or like, it would mean the world to me in this mission. So my question for you today is, how are you bringing pleasure into your daily life? For me, I've been thinking a lot about how I have been a stay-at-home mom primarily for 16 months. And it's something that I enjoy immensely. I have been spending days, all the days, with my beautiful, beautiful son, cuddling, napping together, doing the laundry, playing around the house, going to parks, and just watching him learn, grow, and interact with his world. It has been one of the most healing things that I have done thus far. Just watching him explore this world, having not done so before, without any habits or routines. He's just simply reacting to the world around him. When I see him run up to a family and he just yells, "Hi!" and waves to them and wants to interact with them, it gives me so much joy, and it brings me so much pleasure to know that I get to be a part of this world in which joy, fun, creativity, exploration, and nurture are at the center. Sounds like a pretty good world, doesn't it? Now I hear someone out there saying, "Oh, deriving pleasure from interacting with your child." It's a little Freudian, isn't it? Maybe. But I see it as something that alchemizes. So that raw energy gets alchemized within my body and then gets turned out into a different type of pleasure than you might be thinking of. You know, the pleasure from eating a really good meal or having your feet rubbed. or the pleasure of waking up on a Sunday morning, late in bed, the sun streaming through your window, and you know that you don't have anywhere to be. There's so many different types of pleasure in this world. What brings you pleasure? If you're feeling bold, courageous, maybe write it down in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's bring to light these parts of ourselves that tend to stay hidden. It can be so easy to constrict when talking about things that bring us pleasure. We may even use different terms such as joy or contentment or nothing else is really coming to mind, but I think you understand what I'm saying here. How do you allow pleasure to sink into your daily life? Before we go, I have my tarot deck here. And this is the Black Tarot. And in honor of Scorpio season, I just want to take a moment to maybe draw a card just to get a pulse on the energy. Maybe get a little piece of guidance about how to navigate this topic of bringing pleasure into your daily life, especially when that pleasure might seem like a bit of a shadow aspect that you're working through. I heard the word transform and alchemize. The Two of Wands and the Nine of Wands. The Empress. I see this as wanting to cut through the illusions in order to birth the next version of yourself into this world. I see you being in a space of thinking about your path and your desires and how you see your purpose transforming. You know, when you take a shower and you don't turn your fan on and the mirror gets all foggy, and then you get to the mirror and you start to just like wipe it, and you start to see yourself through the fog, and there's a little bit of a distortion, right? It still is a little bit fogged up even though you've cleared the mirror. I think that's what you're starting to do in this moment. Getting clear on who it is you want to be, how you want to be in this world, what you want to do, what you want to cut away. Because even though you can reveal parts of yourself, there's also parts that need to be cut away. And by doing that, it leaves this incubation space open. And I sense that this is going to take time. It's always it's a long process. It's a lifelong journey. But think of it like being in the womb space. It's warm. You can hear the blood rushing by. You feel perfectly snug and safe. All of your needs are completely taken care of. And you're simply present in that moment of being in that space. And your only focus is to be nourished, to grow, to develop. Pay attention to your dreams. There's a lot of unconscious energy that wants to come through to you, but you're not allowing yourself the time or space to listen. If you need to simply curl up with a blanket and a pillow on the couch, maybe try staring out the window, looking at the trees, the birds, the squirrels. Sources all around you. And you may not quite understand where or why you are where you are, or what the future holds, but know that you are held and you are safe. Things will become clear. You will birth on that new version of yourself into this world, and you will start to notice the path. But you'll always be connected to that source of nurture, of comfort. And take pleasure in that, if you can. Cut the ties with the old and get ready for the new. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that everyone's had an absolutely beautiful day. What's been going on in your world? I'd love to know. We'll see you tomorrow. Hello, my friend. Welcome to my timeline, a place where I make mistakes, jumble my words, and forget to turn my mic on before recording. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. It is about 11:30 in the evening, and I just finished recording this video, but unfortunately my mic was not turned on, and all of that beautiful content is now just a silent film. I'm so grateful to be here. It was such a beautiful day today. The topic that I brought to mind was giving, the art of receiving gifts. And we spoke, and I was, oh geez, you know what? I'm gonna start again. Oh, I have a rule. My rule is to not stop and restart and just accept the mistakes and just accept that things don't always work out the way that you want. And just to catch my breath and try to center myself and come back into the present moment. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you're new here, I'm so happy that you found this channel. I'm certainly no professional content creator. I'm probably as real as they come. I'm just a girl who is trying to put herself out there, trying to have conversations and build community and just find a small little place on the internet to make these connections and do something fun. You know, I've been trying to record and post videos for like a decade, and there's always been such a big blockage. And so here I am now, just finally being able to do it. And it's been almost 2 months. Almost 2 months. It's amazing. It's so amazing. I rewatched my first couple videos a little while back, and stumbling like I was, but I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm so uncomfortable, and I have a little mouse voice, and I think I still do. I still talk quite quietly, but it's been feeling a lot more comfortable. I haven't pressed stop. I haven't stopped and restarted. Everything that you've seen up until this point has just been me pressing record and seeing what happens. And so if you're here, thank you. This is a little less profound than I wanted it to be. When I was recording the first video, there was a fun topic and some stories and some anecdotes and all those great things, but now it just doesn't feel right to try to recreate that. Has anyone ever had that experience? I'd love to know, where something just like didn't quite work out the first time, and so you try to either recreate or change the circumstances to make something flow a little bit better, but oh my goodness, if anyone is a server, this is an example that comes to mind, because I love getting to meet people for the first time, and there's this beautiful spark that happens sometimes, of course, but the first time you meet someone, right, like there's this beautiful spark, you have this wonderful conversation, it's new, there's no history, it's just you do it and they leave, and that's that. And it's just like a flash in the pan. You've had this experience and we move on with our lives. I don't really like regulars. I'm just gonna say it. Like, I do, but I don't. It's a little bit uncomfortable because there's not that same spark, and you have to then remember all that happened the last time around that you were with them. And then you have to like recreate magic. You have to recreate that same experience. And there's this expectation, and that puts pressure on you. And sometimes the people don't want to feel that knownness. And sometimes with regulars, you have this really good rapport and the energy is really good and you're having conversations with them. And then sometimes you get almost trapped because they know you. And because of that, you get pulled into more conversations trying to either recreate what was or build something new. It's a really delicate balance. But to be perfectly honest, I really prefer meeting people for the first time, especially in that scenario. But I'm sure I felt that in my daily life as well with meeting people. And maybe you have too. I'd be interested to know. It feels so weird to say that out loud. It feels like kind of rude. It feels kind of rude. Mm. No, I will share. There was one regular that gave me a really beautiful gift today. And it was my name in an art style that I can't quite remember, but it looked like beautiful watercolor, and it was like animals and plants, and it was my name. And it came with this chart that basically said, you know, each animal what it represents, and one was strength, one was pleasure, one was joy. And yeah, it's my name, just in this beautiful, beautiful artwork lettering. It's absolutely stunning, and I'm so grateful that he felt, you know, this kinship, this connection with me, that he decided to gift me something. It was really quite beautiful. And that, of course, is the beauty of regulars. That, of course, is the beauty of making connections with people. And that, of course, is the beauty of coming back. I was reminded today that I'm a connector. But sometimes it feels like I'm not meant to be the one that people connect with. I'm meant to connect others to each other. As someone who has found a lot of challenges when it comes to maintaining relationships, it sometimes feels like I'm destined to not have those connections between me and others, but to be the bridge for other people. Maybe that is my fate. Maybe that's a projection that I am giving to myself because I find some weird pleasure in being alone all the time. If I'm alone and don't text back, then I don't have to deal with the complications of communication. And I don't have to put myself out there, even when I feel a little bit uncomfortable. Forces you to maintain relationships and to remove your mask that you put on when you initially make contact and connection with someone, especially for someone who's like a shapeshifter, which I would say that I can be in the real world. When I meet someone, you meet their energy. I meet their energy where they're at, and you know, you pick up on their body language and the way that they communicate and their style, and it's really easy just to mimic that in a way to make them feel comfortable. things to ponder, things to look at. Well, with that, I am going to sign off for tonight so that I can post this and still maintain my 1 video a day schedule, which I am dedicated to doing for 365 days. We are 2 months in, 10 months to go. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe, please, if you haven't already, and I will see you tomorrow. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my timeline. Place where we dive deep into all things spirituality, love, light, dark, pretty much everything under the sun. Each day is a little bit different, and what I simply do is just press record and see what comes through for that day. We started this journey on September 2nd, 2024. And for 365 days, I will be posting 1 video a day, just talking about life, love, and anything that comes up. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. There's a lot of great things on the way, and I'm just so happy to be able to share them with you here. So today I brought a little something in. And it's this diary Bible called Thrive. And it was given to me by my father-in-law's wife. And I haven't dived into it yet. I grew up not being a part of any religious affiliation, and to this day I don't have one that I call home. But part of my family is of the Christian religion, and they have been encouraging me to explore this a little bit further. Now, one thing that I have told them many times is that I don't mean to say conform, but conform to any, specific teaching. I love getting to learn about all of the different religions and different ways of thinking about faith and spirituality. And for me personally, where I am right now, it's very challenging for me to hold one religion either above or in truth when there are so many. What I'm really excited about, though, when it comes to this, and I've been wanting to read the scripture for quite some time because I believe that it gives this insight and understanding. It's a language. And when I have these conversations with Christians, I have a hard time. It feels like we're speaking different languages. And so in order for me to have these conversations, it feels as though it's going to be important for me to know and understand the language from their point of view so that I can come to the table with my belief systems that have been integrated with these teachings, and I'll have been able to come to my own conclusions and understandings based on my own experience and my experience with this book. So what I wanted to do today was a practice that I like to do with books in general. Let me know if you've tried this before. It's something that I really love, but simply put, just asking to be guided towards a specific passage or a specific page to get a message that you need to hear right now. I missed it. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my timeline. A place where we take a little bit of time and space every day to connect and to talk about some important topics. It is almost midnight here where I am today. And I was wrestling with the fact of needing to record this video. Have you ever felt like you've made a decision, but then everything in the world is screaming for you to stop doing that thing, to not complete it, or to revert on your decision? Do you ever find that the moment that it's like something clicks into gear and things start turning against you, providing you with challenges or hurdles or tests? Today was one of those days. I just wanted to stay in bed, cuddling my beautiful little son. I didn't want to come out of this room, that room. And then I was reminded that I love coming into this space every day. I love getting to set up my lights and to brush my hair, and I love getting to light a candle and an incense, and I love getting to just clear the space. Every day is an opportunity for me to check in, even when something in me is telling me that I don't want to be here. I know that I do. Sometimes I refer to my past lives in this life. And in one of my past lives, I was a personal trainer. And so many times in that world, you would hear, just do it anyways. You'll feel better once you do it. And it's so true. When you're having kind of a bad day, but you booked a class in at your favorite studio, you know, you begin to start dreading it. You're like, oh, the effort that it's going to take is going to be a lot. And so you hum and haw, you consider canceling, but your body just keeps moving you in that direction. And then you get there and you start to move, and it might be a little challenging in the beginning, and it might feel a little extra hard that day, but then you get to the end of the workout and you know what? You do feel better. I'm wondering if anyone has had a similar experience in their life. Maybe with working out, maybe with an intention to cook meals instead of take out, or maybe you've set an intention to meditate every day or do yoga. Has there been something in your life you have wanted to commit to? And you get a couple days in, and then that pull away starts happening. But then you push through. How does it feel for you? If you're feeling brave, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. Let's bring these topics to light so that everyone can share in your joy. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
17-pound copper tube to experiment with Lenz's law using this terrifyingly powerful neodymium magnet. It's fascinating to watch this magnet seemingly defy gravity while it floats to the bottom of the tube.